Welcome to White Door Tarot, where the reader is bubbly, but the readings can get dark. I am a brand new YouTube channel, so if you like what you see here today, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Now, without further ado, now that I've stretched out the cards, I am going to do readings for the earth signs for the first half of September. So my plan going forward is to put out like 4 videos every other week for the first halves and second halves of the month. All right, so I like to start with oracles from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck to kind of set the tone for the overall reading. Taurus. I myself am a Taurus. Let's see what we got. Ooh. Okay. Fish. Zebra. And let's get a third one. Eagle. All right, let's see what this is about. Fish. Restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, adaptable travels well. When out of balance, distracted changes mind often. To bring into balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. Yeah, actually, funny story. That's why I decided to finally start filming, because I've been talking about this channel for long enough. And I was like, you know what? I am holding myself back by trying to start out perfect. Nobody starts out perfect. We all suck in the beginning. So here I am, starting out and sucking. Anyway, zebra. Eccentric, creative, visionary. Zebras are the most precious of gems. They are young at heart, well-cultured, and have an undying curiosity about life. Being in the company of a zebra personality not only is a delight, but also opens our minds. Be prepared, their potent magic is contagious, and you may soon find yourself in a faraway land, expanding your worldview while having a blast. Zebras also like to contribute to the global health through environmental or volunteer work. This card may be a hint to pack your bags. When in balance, worldly, enthusiastic, fashion forward. When out of balance, jaded, pouty, and vain. To bring into balance, and epic adventure art. And lastly, the eagle. I think he was actually the last card in the Sky Animals section. All-pervading power, truth seeker, transforms karma. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, eagle child. When in balance, bright, radiant challenges. When out of balance, controlling. You know what this feels like? And I hate this too, because I am also a Taurus and we like stability. But this feels like a lot of destabilized Taurians, which kind of makes sense considering the current planetary movements. I think one of the astrologers here on YouTube was talking about how it's going to be hitting Taurus kind of the hardest. Anyway, let's see what that's about. Starting out with love. Okay. Okay. All right. Starting out, we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess is someone that is very intuitive, very in touch with their spirituality. As you can see here, this white tiger is depicted with a crystal ball. And then we have the Nine of Wands, which is upward movement, climbing out of the dark. And we also have the Seven of Swords, and this is about deception. But in this deck, the Seven of Swords is depicted as a fox sleeping with one eye open and a sword tucked under his body, because there is something in his environment that he does not trust. But then we also have the Six of Wands, which is again kind of about upward movement. It's about seeing the rainbow at the end of the wreckage. We have the Two of Swords, and typically the Two of Swords is depicted as a woman holding two swords like this, and she's got a blindfold on. This looks very back and forth to me. It's like upward movement and then withdrawing back into the self. Upward movement, withdrawing back into the self. And then we also have the Eight of Swords here, and it's depicted as a chrysalis hanging over a bunch of swords. And that feels like pressure. And then we also have the Nine of Cups. To me, that means being content with yourself. And with this back and forth energy, it feels like you're saying, but I am my safe space. I am my safe place. I don't have to worry about what's going on outside of myself. And so I should just withdraw back into myself, because the outside is scary, is what this feels like. And then we have the World, which is about new cycles, ending cycles, new beginnings. Ace of Cups. And in the context of this love reading, that would be a love offer from a Father of Cups. As we got to the end there, you know what I feel? I feel like you're a very intuitive person, and you're very in touch with your intuition. But something in the recent past burned you. We have Judgment. Yeah, Four of Pentacles. There's more kind of clinging to yourself, holding closed up tightly, not wanting to share much of yourself. No. But you're thinking about it. So we have the Two of Pentacles and the Strength card here. The Lion, without a lady shoving her hand in his mouth in this deck. Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Like you're thinking about opening up, but you've been burned. There was something that happened that made you have trust issues. But with this, beginning with the High Priestess, it feels like you didn't have trust issues. No, I wouldn't say that. It's almost like you have gotten to a certain point of healing, and you've gotten to a point where you were happy with yourself. And then you got burned. And then you would kind of try to climb out of that energy and then fall back into distrust. And then you'd try to climb out of that energy again, and then you'd fall back into distrust. And it's like, I want to open back up and be myself again, but I'm scared. And I am my own safe place. So why do I need to open back up? That's the energy that I'm feeling here. Judgment. Strength. It feels like yet another thing that you need to heal from. And I say that because the world is here. And it's like once you close out this cycle, once you just close out this cycle, there is a new love offer from someone that is more in tune with their emotions. There's a new love offer on the horizon from someone that can meet you where you are. Kind of. I say that because it's the High Priestess with the Father of Cups. I mean, the High Priestess, her match is the Hierophant, but this is someone that can try to meet you where you are, that someone that can put genuine effort into you, someone that knows what you've been through and isn't there to put you through more, isn't just going to be yet another thing that you have to heal from or power through. Someone that genuinely wants to contribute happiness into your life is what I'm feeling. But you have to get through all of this back and forth energy within yourself. And then we have Judgment and Strength. And that feels like poop or get off the pot energy. It feels like you need to make a decision from a place of strength, from a place of, if you are your own safe space, then you should trust your own judgment when it comes to making sure that you are good. Yes, that's what that feels like. But at the same time, I feel a lot of pain associated with this. It almost feels like dare I say something that you thought was going to be good for once Because people that make themselves their own safe spaces, they don't trust their environment. They don't trust that they are going to be taken care of. And so they try their hardest to take care of themselves because they've been taught from experience that they can't count on anyone else to do that for them. And it's almost like, even coming from that place, you gave something a shot and it hurt you. And that destabilized you. And now you're going back and forth and back and forth and holding on tightly. You're closed up. You're all knotted up. I tend to pay more attention to the artwork. And in the context of this reading, isn't that kind of what this feels like? Where it's like, well, there are swords all over the place. So I'm just going to shut myself in my cocoon and stay there. Never again. That's the energy that I get. Never again. But the world is the defining point. The judgment and strength is kind of the defining point where not only do you learn to trust your own ability to take care of yourself, but you also learn to trust your ability to make the right decisions for yourself. And that's when the Ace of Cups and the Father of Cups come in. Yep. Let's see. Give me a little more. Daughter of Swords. Nine of Pentacles. Again, back with the 9. I feel like this pairs with the Cups. That's the I'm good on my own kind of energy. Ace of Wands. With all this sword energy too, it almost feels like the Taurians are taking more of an intellectual approach to love rather than operating from the heart space. 4 of Swords, Son of Swords. The Son of Swords and the Daughter of Swords are here. Ooh, I just heard conversation. That almost feels like there's a conversation that needs to be had. But oh, dare I say this out loud? This almost feels like a conversation that needs to be had, but at this present moment in time, neither of you have gotten to the point yet where you're ready to have that conversation. I say that also because the 4 of Swords is here, and that's about resting, contemplation, healing, recovering. Like, there's still a lot of like jagged energy in this. And then we have the Ace of Wands and the Mother of Cups coming up to the Father of Cups. So that kind of doubles down on what I was saying earlier, where it's like you have to do the work to recover from this and end that cycle and become a different version of yourself to meet this future person where they are. I mean, you're still the High Priestess, but High Priestess isn't really known for being warm and loving either. So maybe the healing kind of leads you to embody more of that Cups energy. Softening. Once you soften, you'll be ready again, is what they're saying. Yeah, it looks like now is not the time for love yet. You're still healing from the last one. And it's okay to take that time to heal for yourself. If anything, my philosophy on all that is that a lot of the time people, they jump from relationship to relationship. They look for a rebound to distract themselves from the last one, but they didn't really stop to process anything. And then hurt people end up hurting people, and we just kind of re-traumatize each other. And that's kind of why it's important to take a break between relationships and do the inner work. What did you reflect on it? What did you learn from that relationship or situationship or whatever it was? What did you learn from that? How can you heal from that? How can you come out better for that? That's the important step that a lot of people tend to skip because it's uncomfortable. But there's also a lot of people that just kind of swear off relationships for the longest time, and they don't actually do any inner work. They just put time in between the relationships without actually changing as a person, and they just end up becoming kind of these like hermity, traumatized people that still end up traumatizing other people. So yeah, basically that part of the love reading, or that love reading in particular, feels like a reminder to slow down, heal. The right one will come. And the right one, you'll know it's the right one because they're actually going to put effort into you. They're actually going to care about your well-being. And they're actually going to consider how their actions affect you. And they're going to be careful with their words, because sometimes the things that we say to people leave permanent scars, and they don't want to hurt you because they care about you, because that's how people treat people that they care about. Anyway, what was that whole tangent? All right, let's get into work. Mogang, 2 of Cups. Nice. Judgment is back. Ace of Wands. Eight of Wands. Nice. Five of Swords. The Star. No, there was also something that... Temperance. Okay. 10 of Cups. Where are we at? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. The Devil. The Magician. Why is the Devil here? Two of Swords. Okay. Well, with the 2 of Cups being here, this feels like... I don't like what's coming after. But with the 2 of Cups here, it feels like... Oh, that's past energy. Okay. 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 It feels like you felt like you found your dream job, basically. It feels like you found your, something that you're like, okay, I can retire here. So we have Judgment. I laugh because, we have the Ace of Wands that's like, yeah, new thing. I'm going towards that. And then usually this is about inspiration, but then lightning hits that wand and they came out one after the other. So this almost feels like your enthusiasm died immediately. And then we have the 5 of Swords, which is self-destruction. Or in this case, destruction. And this was something that you had high hopes for too. But it looks like with Temperance being here, I have a feeling that you're no longer in this situation. You're no longer at this job. Um, because temperance is about healing. It's also about balance. Maybe this is just about work-life balance, but this really feels like this really feels to me like an attempt at regaining uh, a sense of coming out of jadedness. This feels like regaining almost like your childlike whimsy, finding yourself again after all of this, basically. Finding what makes you happy again is what that feels like. And yeah, we have the 10 of cups here kind of saying the same thing. That's about ultimate happiness. In the traditional tarot, it's depicted as a family unit together, just ultimate happiness. Finding, the white picket fence, Labrador, golden retriever, perfect partner kind of feeling. It's almost like realigning with your own dreams. It's like you've done what you've had to do up until this point. And again, this job that you had was just a 2 of cups. And that's about union, that's about, a partnership, but it's only 2 cups compared to the 10 that you want for yourself, is what I'm saying. It's almost like, okay, back up. It's almost like you grow up, like, when I grow up, I want to be this, I want to do this, and you have these big dreams, and then you grow up, and in the shuffle of, bills, and you're supposed to have a job by whatever age, and you're supposed to make X amount of money by the time you're X years old or whatever. Once you hit that time, it's like you start to lose sight of the things that actually matter to you, and it just becomes an after work hobby. But then something happened at your last job where you were like, you know what, this freaking destroyed me, and this shouldn't have had as much of an effect on me as it did, is what I'm feeling. It's like, no, why did a job feel like such a big part of my identity? And you're realigning yourself to who you are and what you love and what you enjoy and what matters to you and what your dreams were and what you look for your life. Maybe it's switching career paths because you've been, let's say you sold insurance, you know and they laid you off, and it was devastating, and you were like, oh no, who am I if I'm not the person that sells insurance? And then for a while you panic and you start looking for other insurance selling jobs, and then somewhere in that search you're like, wait, I don't even enjoy selling insurance. I don't, why? You know what I mean? It's almost like you went from a bright purple to a beige. And then after this hit, you were like, oh no, my beigeness. And then you were like, wait, I am more vibrant than this. I have bigger dreams than this. I have a deeper purpose in life than what I've been doing. It almost feels like a waking up moment. Mm. Yeah, because we have the devil with the 2 of swords. And the devil is the things that bind us. The devil is the chain around our neck, basically. And the 2 of swords is something that we weren't seeing. It feels like something that we weren't seeing. Like we didn't realize how tethered we were to something that we didn't even knowingly make that part of our identity, but somehow it turned into it. It became so ingrained into our being that we were like, wait. Like once it was gone, we were like, wait. That's what that feels like. And I say that because after that is the magician. The magician is a master manifester. The magician is someone that almost has like a trickster type energy, but for me, it feels like a kid, kind of like going back to your roots as a person. Because I have a theory, okay, that growing up isn't about, learning how to do your taxes and making sure your bills are paid and all that good stuff. That's just kind of like basic adulting. But That's not what growing up is. Growing up, maturing, is, if anything, shedding everything that you've become for the sake of surviving and returning back to yourself as a child. It's almost like returning back to a childlike state. Because the more we mature, the kinder we get. The more genuine our kindness gets, the more genuine our love becomes, the more we heal, the more we mature, the more we grow as people, the more true to ourselves and authentic we become. So if anything, we age backwards. Truly growing up is becoming who you were when you were a kid. That's how I see it. Regaining your whimsy. And I feel like that's what's happening here. Sorry, this turned into way deeper of a reading than I thought it would be. But at the same time, I'm a Taurus, and I'm kind of piecing this into what's going on with me, and I get it. I get it. Yeah. With the Magician being here, though, it feels like whatever it is that you're finding in yourself is the path that's going to succeed for you. Because, now it really is a time for people to start living in their purpose, living in their truth. Now is a time where society is restructuring. And more people are waking up spiritually. More and more people are starting to question the status quo. And so I think that now is a good time to embody the Magician and believe in the dreams that you had when you were a child. It's important to make sure that your bills are paid. So if you can keep a 9 to 5, definitely keep a 9 to 5 until you're a little more sure about your bigger dreams. But what I'm saying is, don't get complacent in the 9 to 5 and think that that's okay. If you feel like you have a bigger purpose in life, pursue it. Because the best thing that we can do, you can't change the world by yourself, but you can do your part in changing it by embodying your truth, embodying your integrity. If you feel like you're meant for something more, go do that. Because that is your duty as a living human being. That is your part to contribute. I always like to say that we know we're doing the right thing when our heart compass is telling us that we're going the right way. Follow your heart compass. If it sparks something in you, that's it. It doesn't have to make sense. That's why it's the heart compass. Let's try shuffling this again. These cards are a little stiff and slippery. Ah, I dropped one. All right. Now, shadow work. Okay. The Magician and the Two of Swords are here, back from the work reading. So I feel like that ties deeply into... Oh, the Father of Cups is here too. And the Four of Swords. With the Daughter of Wands. The Star. Five of Swords. Eight of Wands. Ace of Wands. Three of Cups. It's interesting that the Eight of Wands came out before the Ace of Wands this time. And then we have the Five of Wands, Two of Wands. Temperance, Ten of Cups. A lot of repeat cards. Okay. I heard someone say, when I looked at the Magician with the Two of Swords, that there is something that you want that you are not letting yourself want. And with the Four of Swords, which showed up in your love reading, with the Father of Cups and the Daughter of Wands showing up together with the Four of Swords, it feels like that is the thing that you want that you are not letting yourself want. So this kind of goes back into the love reading of you just withdrawing back into yourself, saying, I don't want that. I don't want anything. It's denial, really. Along with the Daughter of Wands. And in this deck, the wands are depicted with snakes. The one family, I guess, the daughter, son, father, mother, are depicted with snakes. And that gives me, in this context, kind of a sharper energy. But you see how she's kind of crossed over a branch of flowers in this one? It feels like hidden passion. It feels like suppressed passion. It feels like a blocked sacral chakra, honestly. It feels like, yeah, denial. Like you're depriving yourself of something. And then with the Star and the Five of Swords being here, the Star being hopes and dreams, and the Five of Swords being self-destruction, it feels like every time you dare to want that thing, you tell yourself no. No, it's too dangerous. It's too risky. I'm going to get hurt again. Or, yeah, that's what it feels like. It's kind of like like I just pictured a kid just kind of reaching out for a cupcake, and then let's say like her mom just like smacks her on the hand or something, like no, and then she withdraws her hand, and then she just goes, fine, I didn't want one anyway. That's what that feels like. And then with the Eight of Wands, this time this does feel like inspiration because it came before the Ace of Wands, which is about taking new action. And then the Three of Cups, which is about harmony or making peace with something. I feel like the focal point here is the Three of Cups, which is the harmony, because on the other side of it, we have the Two of Wands and the Five of Wands. So it's kind of like a wand sandwich going on over here, where it's like inspiration to take action, but then you're at a crossroads because there was a lot of conflict. There's a part of you. I see. Okay. So, harmony. Harmony, we think that it means never fighting. We think that peace means never having conflict. We think that peace means monotony. But in reality, even harmonious relationships have conflict. Even harmonious relationships have both good moments and bad. And learning to be okay with that, learning to sit through that conflict with the other person, instead of deciding that, oh, there's been too much conflict, this isn't going to work, it's never going to work. How do I say this? It's like every relationship, I believe, kind of should start out kind of rough. Not like toxic rough, but there's going to be a learning period, where you're still trying to figure each other out. There's going to be a period where Let's say they chew too loud. And you say, hey, you chew too loud, and that's annoying. And then they go, but you snore when you sleep. And then you're like, no, I don't. And then you have those little arguments back and forth. But it's through those conversations, it's through those back and forths. Like if you can disagree without turning it into an argument and instead keeping it at a discussion and keeping it in mind, like if you can both keep in mind that when you're having these discussions, you're trying to learn each other, not fight each other. You're trying to deepen your understanding of one another, not create a rift. If you are both capable of that mature, high level of communication, then even with the conflict, as in the disagreements, there can be harmony, there can be passion. And disagreements and like fighting and passion are not the same thing. That's another thing that I feel compelled to say. It's like when people are so used to dysfunction and they're so used to toxicity, people start to mistake this turbulence with passion. People start to mistake love and connection with attachment. And it's not the same thing. And it looks like a big piece of your shadow work revolves around learning that fact. This almost feels like simultaneously softening your heart space while also sharpening your discernment. Yep. And then also learning the difference between discernment and anxiety, because it feels like the wound is still so fresh that they're kind of blending together, your discernment and your anxiety, your intuition and your anxiety. I've gotten lost in this reading. But anyway, once you can heal and once you absorb the message from the last thing that you thought was good that turned out to be yet another lesson, once you heal from that and once you learn to balance yourself back again between softening and becoming discerning or being discerning. It's almost like you already had that discernment, but it leaned towards anxiety because of whatever happened here. But once you rebalance yourself, there is a 10 of Cups coming up. You can achieve fulfillment. And for me, in tarot, the nines are kind of as far as you can get on your own. The nines are, I'm good with myself. I'm happy with myself. Me, myself, and I are good. But the tens, which mean ultimate happiness, that's something that you need someone else in the mix for. And it's okay to stay in the Nine of Cups. Not everyone wants love, but I'm just saying. Love is supposed to be the sprinkle on top. You are supposed to be happy with yourself. You are supposed to be content with yourself. But it's also okay to want more than that. There's no shame in wanting a partner. Ooh, let's hope I can not cry while I talk about this, but I've almost died before. So I had brain surgery 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Almost 3 years ago now. And I was on my deathbed for like a year. And I remember thinking when I thought that I was dying, like I was literally unconscious for like a week. And I remember thinking when I was dying, I was like, I've never been loved right. Like I've never experienced a good love that didn't turn toxic or abusive. And that felt very sad for me. Um, I had a lot of friends around me, fortunately, that helped a lot. They did a lot for me. They really pulled through for me. Um, but it's like that was one of what I thought was going to be my last thoughts, that I've never been loved right. And then after all that, was done, I had the surgery, I survived. I, went on to find a job, and then another job, and then another job, and life moved on. I think at that point, when I had the surgery, I'd been single for 2 years. Yeah, just about a little over 2 years. And then after it, for another 2-ish, 3-ish years, I stayed single. And up until recently, I kind of had that mindset of, yeah, I'm good by myself. I don't need anybody. Even when I had that thought on my deathbed, like, wow, I've never been loved right. That didn't turn into me going, I want to be loved right. That turned into me kind of shoving that feeling down, shoving that thought down, almost because I felt ashamed that I wanted that. Um, and when I talked about it to an older friend, he was like 70. I'm friends with a lot of older people. Um, he told me, it's natural to want that. It's natural to want a partner. It's natural to want love, to be loved, to want companionship, especially when you're in a weakened state like I was. I was literally dying. Um, but yeah, with the 10 of Cups coming after Temperance, after all of this back and forth stuff that's going on, I felt the need to remind you guys that, if you say that you're good on your own and you don't want anyone or anything, make sure that you're coming from a genuine place and you're not just saying that because you're hurt or you've been burned or you're traumatized or you're angry or you're still resentful. It's okay to admit that you want somebody. And it's okay to admit that you want companionship. And, in some cases, maybe you really don't want companionship. Like I'm at a spot where I'm just like, I'm not necessarily looking for companionship. I'm not even sure how to do the living situation. I'm not interested in a marriage certificate. However, there have been instances where I'm like, I wasn't looking for a relationship. Okay, let's be honest. There was an instance where I was like, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I'm not looking for a relationship. I don't want a relationship. I want you specifically. Stuff like that happens too. And it's okay to change your mind in that moment and be like, yeah, I want you specifically. I wasn't looking for a relationship, but I want you specifically. Or to even just say, you know what? Yeah, I was coming from a place of pain and resentment and trauma and anger. It's important to be okay by yourself. It's important to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, just in case you never meet anyone, because that can happen too. But be genuinely happy. Work on being genuinely happy. And it's still okay to admit that you want to be loved. Yep. Okay. That got way deeper than I intended it to be. So let's move on to Virgo. All right. So pulling from the Oracle deck, let's see what's up with Virgo. Dragonfly. Too many. Ooh, the black egg. Oh, I'm getting heavy spiritual energy now. Wow, that was aggressive. Butterfly. Ooh, metamorphosis. Maybe some of you are going through a spiritual awakening. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Dragonfly. Master of light, illusion, and the mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder in all. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind as it is always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. Are they restless or still, dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. When in balance, sees clearly, joyful, magical. When out of balance, can't concentrate, busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on the breath. The black egg. Thought it was a page before or after the golden egg. Here we go. Speaking from an authentic voice, the truth. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in, books draw us in, the concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself, and what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment in every situation. It is the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. Butterfly. Somewhere, maybe. Here it is. Undergoing great change and transformation, the energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon. Committing to one daily routine, a meal, practice, or prayer done at the same place and time will do wonders for lifting a butterfly spirit. When in balance, cheerful, graceful. When out of balance, fragile, frustrated. To bring into balance, daily routine. Yeah, it feels like the Virgos are going through a personal transformation. And it just feels spiritual in nature. It almost feels like a return to self. Yeah, that's what's coming to mind. But when I went through my spiritual awakening, I kind of ended up like the crazy corkboard guy meme for a hot minute there. So, yeah, this reminder to keep yourself in balance, stick with your routine is very important, especially if that's what you're going through, so that you don't wind up like the crazy corkboard guy. All right, let's get into love. Four of Swords, Father of Cups, Four of Cups, Ace of Wands. Okay, good. Five of Cups. I feel like this is here. If you guys can't tell, I do freestyle readings. I don't really stick with a set format. Three of Swords. I kind of follow my intuition as far as where to place the cards. The Sun, or as I like to call it, the butthole, because in this deck it really looks like a butthole. Ten of Wands. Man, this chain is long. They just keep... There it is. Wheel of Fortune. No, rather than that, it feels like this. Ace of Swords. Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords. Two of Wands. Three of Cups. When I pulled the Three of Cups, I almost heard too peaceful. So, okay. I got my impressions while I was pulling the cards. But, yeah, that feels like that goes there. That goes there. So the Four of Swords is kind of a weight energy. Not necessarily weight, but more like... Do I keep touching the mic? I do keep touching the mic. Healing, contemplation, maybe even self-reflection. And then here you have a Father of Cups. And this feels like someone that's trying to come in. There we go. And then in your energy, we feel two of Wands is kind of like, that's what that feels like. And then we have the Three of Cups, which when I pulled, I heard too peaceful. This feels like you're being hesitant about someone new coming in. Because you have also, like Taurus, been burned before. Badly. The Four of Cups was here, and that felt like there's an opportunity there, but you're like, don't want to take it. Because you've been in a spot where you were trying to drink out of a dried out watering hole in a past relationship. It felt like something was bad for you, and yet you stuck with it because it seemed like what... Okay, I feel the need to say this. Listen, Linda, listen. Unconditional love does not mean putting up with someone's crap indefinitely or unconditionally. That person has to show you that they are willing to grow and change as a person. Not for you, but for the sake of self-improvement. There's a difference between changing someone and inspiring growth in them. And there's a difference between loyalty and staying somewhere that hurts you in the name of loyalty. Okay? And it feels like this past situation that you were at, you stuck it out because sticking it out is who you are. But you confused that with loyalty. That's not loyalty, that's self-abandonment. Okay? Unconditional love needs to apply to yourself too. As much as you love another person, you have to reflect that same love back to yourself. Because this past person feels like they put you through well, I am who I am the way that I am, with no intention to grow as a person. kind of a take it or leave it kind of energy, which honestly, in my opinion, is not a healthy place to be either, because if you choose to stay the same, you're also, without self-reflection, without introspection, without even just being open towards growth, you repeat your own same toxic cycles and you drag other people into that. And that's not healthy. And it feels like this past person put you through that. They dragged you into their toxic cycle and you got tumbled around and you stuck it out and you stayed for too long and you got hurt. Three of Swords. And you made their burdens your own. Ten of Wands. And it feels like this experience is still heavy in your energy. It was traumatic. But we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. That's good fortune and happiness, ultimate happiness. The Sun is basically just good luck card. So is the Wheel of Fortune, really. And then we have the Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands, initiating communication, initiating action. These are good action-oriented, action, thought, head, mind, passion-oriented cards. It feels like the hang up between, the I don't know about this new person, and the yes, I want to pursue this, is this. It's the trauma that you went through before. So it looks like in love, Virgo, this is going to be a slow start. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to ask someone to slow down. Just make sure that you communicate where you're at with them as you go. Because something about this gives me the feeling that after you went through what you went through, you developed some avoidant attachment style tendencies. Whether that be fearful avoidant or dismissive avoidant, it feels like you kind of developed oh, don't get too close. Oh, you're getting too close. And then when people get a little too close for comfort, you either self-sabotage or push them away or ice them out. But this Father of Cups feels like someone that at least deserves you saying, okay, this is where my head is at. They seem like someone that's in tune with their emotions enough to be able to take that conversation. If you're just open and honest with them as you go, they can wait until you're ready. It feels like you met someone or you're about to meet someone that's going to help you heal. But as you heal, try not to bleed on this person. Try to work with them, by being straightforward with where you are, even if it feels vulnerable, even if it feels scary. Tell them, hey, I've been through some crap. This is what I went through, and this is what's going through my head right now. And I'm sure you're a really nice person, but, it's going to take some time before I open up again. Are you okay with that? With the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun being here, along with the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands, it does feel like eventually you're going to get to a point where you can break through and past this energy and return back to the version of yourself that trusts a little easier. Yeah, this looks like a good and healthy relationship for you. Just, be mindful of the things that I talked about. Be honest with this person, with where you're at. Be open. Keep them in the loop. Keep them up to date. And it looks like you're going to be all good. All right. Jobs. Let's going on with Virgo and their careers? Ace of Pentacles looks like you have a no. I was gonna say that you have a new opportunity, but then we got the Ace of Cups. What's that about? What's going on? Oh, oh, dude, what is going on with the Virgos right now? We got the Hermit, which is about withdrawing back into your shell, like introspection, introspecty, hermit energy. And then immediately after, we get the Chariot, which is the go, 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 I'm going now energy. What's happening? Oh, Four of Pentacles, keeping your coins close to your chest. Star. Ooh, the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, okay, okay. Ace of Cups. All right. Now we're top. King. The Emperor. Nice. Come on, keep this high. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if that got really loud or not. A new cycle begins. All right. So, so we started out with the Ace of Pentacles, and I was like, yeah, new job opportunity. And then Eight of Cups, walking away, disappointment, goodbye. Then we got the Hermit, which was withdrawing back into yourself, the Chariot. Okay. Okay. It feels like a lost opportunity, honestly. This feels like there was something that you were hoping to start, failure to launch. You withdrew back into yourself, thought about it, and then you're like, let's go. And then the Four of Pentacles is usually kind of like the no, I'm holding on to my stuff kind of energy, but this almost feels like you're saving up money. This feels like you're saving up money because immediately after we have the Star and the Ten of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups and the Emperor and the World. And this feels like you tried to do something with your career, whether it be like something drastic, like changing career paths or, getting a job that you really had high hopes for or starting your own business. And there was a failure to launch. Something didn't work out. Yeah, either you didn't get accepted or you're struggling to find or get a job in that different career path that you want to switch to. And this Hermit, actually, it feels like re-strategizing. And then with the Chariot, you're actually persevering through this disappointment and you're saving up your money because there's something that you want to do with it. There's something that you want to invest it into, whether it be starting your own business or literally making investments into something like that. It's something that requires investment that you want to do. Then we got the Ten of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, the Emperor. It also looks like you might just end up picking up. The Ace of Cups is not the Two of Cups, which is about partnership. It's about an offer. But it almost feels like someone that is in a good place that can help you is offering their help. Because you got to the Ten of Pentacles on your own, where you're like, okay, now, or you're getting to to that place on your own, and you're like, okay, now I have enough to do what I want to do, like enough money saved up to do what I want to do. And then somebody comes in and goes, let's make this even better. The World. With this progress towards something more aligned with what you want to do, it feels like you're ending a cycle of some sort. Something keeps touching my chin. There we go. It almost feels like you're ending a cycle of some sort. You know what I just got? Okay. And this is unusual for Virgos. But okay, let's say you've had bad luck with jobs. You know, every time you get a job at a place, you end up being the victim of the office gossip, or you end up, with the sleazy boss every single time. There's some kind of something that kept happening to you at jobs, workplaces. And finally, you went, all right, enough. I'm going to do something new. I'm going to get out of this repeated cycle with what I keep going through. No matter where I seem to go, it keeps happening. I'm done. I'm doing something completely different. I'm taking charge of my own career. This really feels like self-starting energy, kind of like you're starting your own business type of thing, like self-employed. I'm my own boss type of something. Because it also feels like I'm hearing like unreliable. It's almost like you're tired of putting your entire life on someone else's land, like building your foundation on someone else's land. This really feels like you're trying to become self-employed, and you're going to meet somebody that can invest in you and help you make it even better. So that looks really good. All right. Go for it. Even if you're still at the four of pentacles part, go for it, because this feels like something that's actually going to take off for you. All right. Finally, shadow work. All right. These cards are slippery. Okay, so I keep saying that because usually I work with a different deck, but she refuses to be used for public readings. She used to be my main deck, because I normally do private readings, personal readings, but she does not want to be used for that anymore. She only wants to read for me now. So now I'm trying to work with this new deck that is not quite worn in yet, and it's also made of a different material, almost like a plastic. So it's hard to shuffle, but I try. Okay. Mm, 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 mm. I'll take this one. Put these ones back. Nope. Honestly, ending with the Pentacles energy is very Virgo of you. Nope. Now we have ones. Okay. Oh, hold up. Clarify the devil for me, please. So the devil was clarified with the devil. Okay, they meant what they said. So we have the butterfly reemerging from the wreckage. It looks like you are on the up and up. Like it looks like you're fighting it. We also have the Fool, which is about a leap of faith from the devil. There's something I'm hearing. Intrusive thought. Intrusive thoughts. That also explains the pentacles. So, some of you Virgos may be struggling with depression. You may be struggling with deep, deep depression and intrusive thoughts, if you know what I mean. And it's like you try to push yourself up out of that energy, with the Ace of Wands, the Nine of Wands. That's about upward energy. It's almost, but it's not, it doesn't feel strong enough to get you up and out of that devil energy. So it almost feels like you're choosing to start getting help, professional help. Because what you want is the sun. You want to be happy. It's as simple as that. You want to be happy, but you keep getting dragged back down by the devil energy, by the intrusive thoughts. Father of Pentacles here, it feels like a guide of some sort, like a mentor or, a therapist, someone that can actually help you through it and has the means and the tools to help you through it. It seems like this is something that you've been dealing with for a long, long time, and you're finally getting ready to break that pattern, and you're deciding to go to therapy. And I say that because we have the Three of Pentacles here, and that's about planning. It just feels like a very clinical feel, if that makes sense. And then we also have the Six of Wands, which is the rainbow after the storm. Yeah, it feels like you're having a moment of clarity, in your ups and downs and ups and downs. You're having enough of an up to be like, I'm going to start going to therapy. And I'm going to do all of the paperwork and the intake and all the stuff and go to the appointment and do the things that I need to do to get out of this energy. Sometimes shadow work isn't just, sitting there and sitting in your thoughts and self-reflecting and introspecting and meditating and all of that. Sometimes you do need help to get through the shadow work, and there is no shame in that. If anything, it's honorable. It's the right thing to do, especially if you're dealing with an energy as heavy as this. By all means, get help, and a lot of people say get help, to imply, oh, you're crazy. But going to therapy is not a crazy person thing. It's not just for crazy people. It's for learning how to, learning the tools to deal with this energy. Yeah. It looks like you're externalizing the actions that you need to take to get through your inner shadow work. And that is very, very good. I'm happy to see it. I'm proud of you, Virgo. I'm proud of you. Yeah. Having that moment where you're like, I think I need help. I can't do this by myself anymore, is honorable. Accepting your limitations and taking the actions that you need to take to improve, to better yourself, to help yourself is very, very good. Yeah, that's all I can say about this, because it looks like you're already taking the steps that you need to get out of this. Yup. I wish you luck with therapy. Yeah, I went to therapy for 2.5 years to get through my stuff. And I like to explain to people that have never been that it's almost like opening, let's say you have all this trauma stored in your head. And now you have a closet that you keep the door shut on, because every time you open it, everything comes tumbling down. And it's all a disorganized mess, and you can't handle what's in there. Every time you open that door, just and therapy is kind of the act of opening that door in the safety of someone else's company and then addressing those items one by one. You can't really get rid of anything, because you can't just forget your trauma. You can't regret, forget that that stuff happened to you. You can't, yeah, get rid of it, but you can look at it, observe it long enough to where it doesn't hurt to look at anymore. Acknowledge it, compartmentalize it in its rightful spot, and just kind of let everything tumble out, observe everything one by one, and then organize it in the closet. So opening the closet isn't such a scary thing anymore, is what therapy did for me, at least, because now I can talk about my experiences, and I've been through some stuff. All right, I've been through some stuff, but now I can talk about my experiences without completely falling apart, and honestly barely feeling anything about it. It's like, yeah, that happened, and this is who I became for it. This is what I did with that. So yeah, going to therapy, I honestly recommend therapy to anybody. Like, I think we all need it, honestly. So yeah, good job, Virgos. So with that being said, we are moving on to Capricorn. Okay, so let's pull from the Animal Oracle deck for Capricorn. Vulture. Rebalancing, purifying, cleansing. Good, good. The Bat. And the Butterfly. Same as Virgo. Looks like you're going through your own bit of transformation right now, Capricorns. All right, Vulture. Guardian and purifier, essential for rebalance. The vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. When in balance, clarifies, reveals wisdom. When out of balance, dramatic, aggressive. To bring into balance, clean your space and sage. Bat. Darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns, no more lingering in the past. When in balance, accepts, adapts, adjusts. When out of balance, refuses to let go, reminisces. To bring into balance, watch the sunrise. And the butterfly, I believe, was back here. Yep. Undergoing great change and transformation. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon, committing to one daily routine, a meal, a meal, practice, or prayer done at the same place and time will do wonders for lifting a butterfly spirit. When in balance, cheerful, graceful. When out of balance, fragile, frustrated. To bring into balance, daily routine. This feels like you had a shakeup in your life, an ending, possibly with a partner that you're still trying to adjust through. Let's see. Love. Eight of Cups. Walking away, disappointment, sadness, goodbyes. The Six of Pentacles, which is about rebuilding something solid for yourself. Goodbye. Mother of Pentacles, which is the equivalent of the Queen of Pentacles. So that's independence, material stability. And we have the Seven of Wands, which is the light, upward energy. But we also have the Four of Swords, which is about contemplation, healing, period of healing. Father of Cups with the Son of Cups. I'll need to see more before I can speak on that. The Magician. The Emperor. The Six of Wands. The Fool. Leap of Faith. I see in the cards here that it looks like you are recovering from that Eight of Cups. Slowly but surely. There's a lot of back and forth. Here we have the Hangman, which is also a bat. And this is about seeing things from a different perspective. Okay. All right. Now this makes sense to me. Okay. So this feels like something did end for you in the realm of love. But it looks like you're picking yourself back up. It looks like you're picking yourself back up. And you're going through the healing process properly. Honestly, what got me with the bat was like no more looking at the past or whatever. You know, I have a knee-jerk reaction to comments like that because healing takes time. You know? I mean, there's a difference between sitting in your feelings and drowning in them and just never, just like, oh, it's all dark. There's no way that I'm ever going to be happy again. Versus sitting in your feelings, allowing yourself to feel what you feel, knowing that you're trying to get yourself out of there. And it feels like that is what you're doing, is that you're going through it, but you're going through it knowing that there is a way out of it. It's not this endless dark tunnel. You're picking yourself back up and you're taking your time with it, and that's okay. With the Father of Cups and the Son of Cups and the Magician here, it looks like the visual that I just got was almost like a heart and someone kind of puttying it up, if that makes sense. It's deepening your understanding of love is what I'm hearing. And when I say love, I don't mean just romantic. I mean universal love. Self-love, too. Because the Father of Cups is someone that takes care of themselves. Father of Cups is about self-love. The Queen of Cups pours her cup out to everybody else. The Father of Cups, he pours it to himself. And the Son of Cups and the Father of Cups coming out together feels like your understanding of love. And the Magician has a cup here too. I mean, well, they have all of them, really. The sword, pentacle, wand, and cup. But still, it feels like that's where your energy is focused on right now, is relearning love. Because whatever this was that you lost in the past was not love. That was what you thought love was. With you were looking at love from the lens of conditioning. Yes, you were looking at love from the lens of what you were taught love was. You were following the script of your parents. You were following the script that society wrote what love is supposed to be. But it wasn't love. It wasn't love to you. And that's the important part. You know, because we can say all day, like, oh, you know, did they love me? Did they not love me? Did they even care about me? They loved you in the only way that they knew how. But the real question isn't, do they love you or not? The question is, how does their love affect you? How does their love make you feel? How does their love affect the way you see yourself? And it looks like that's what you're piecing together. It's not, did they love me? Did they care? It's, what is love to me? What is love supposed to feel like to me? And then we have the Emperor, and he, in this reading, feels like tradition. He feels like patriarchy. He feels like this is the script that you are supposed to follow. And you're saying, no. Six of Wands, the Fool, the Hanged Man, seeing things from a different perspective. You're saying, I get to decide what makes me feel loved. I get to decide how I love myself and the kind of love that I'm going to accept. It looks like you're rebuilding yourself more from a material perspective as well. But you're also rebuilding your not just your sense of self, but just how you are definitely going through a hardcore metamorphosis. That's what this feels like. Yeah. You're figuring yourself out after all this. Good. Is there anything else that you want to say? Son of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Okay. I saw an ink blot kind of spreading out, thinning out. And that feels to me like a reminder not to stretch yourself too thin. Because you're picking up the pieces, I can't say that. Picking up the pieces at different angles of your life. You know, like this probably had like financial impact on you. And you're fixing that. You're working on that. But also mentally, emotionally as well. You're reinventing yourself. You're rebuilding from scratch, basically, is what this feels like. But not quite. Because you're a Capricorn. There's no way that you had nothing leaving this. But yeah, that's what this feels like. And it feels like a reminder to be gentle with yourself through this process, because it's going to take time. And I also feel compelled to say, you're never going too fast nor too slow. When it comes to processes like this, you are exactly where you need to be. All right. Now, going into career. I shuffle when they tell me to. Don't worry about it. Okay. Gnarly. Nine of Swords. Anguish. Agony. Son of Swords. That feels like haste. Almost impulsive communication. But that made me feel like it was a warning. Ten of Cups. Nine of Wands. Up and up. Good, good, good. Mother of Cups. Self-care. Okay. This feels like it goes here. Seven of Cups. Illusion. Masks. Something hidden. The Star. That goes there. The Hierophant. And that felt like it kind of arches over this entire reading. Mother of Pentacles is back. Daughter of Wands. Okay. This feels like there is a snake in the grass in your work environment. But the Mother of Cups and the Mother of Pentacles being here feels like a reminder to take care of yourself, nurture yourself, keep yourself in check, both financially and also emotionally, so that you don't go and do this. Son of Swords, impulsive communication. Because something really bad happened where you work. And you're not happy about it. But there's a snake in the grass. So be careful. Take care of yourself so that you don't explode before you are ready to chase your star and get up on out of there. Once you do, it's looking really good. It looks like whatever opportunity's coming after is going to be really good. With the Hierophant being here, kind of arching over the entire reading, it feels like keep your intuition on for now until you Nine of Wands out of there. Yeah. Okay. The Daughter of Wands, it feels like it feels like you know to watch your back. It feels like you know to protect yourself. You know all that. And the pressure is building. Trust that when you finally do get out of there, you are going to find yourself in a harmonious environment next. Basically, I'm saying yes, you need to leave this situation, but wherever you land next is going to be good for you, and it's going to be more aligned with your passion. the feeling that I get is like the visual that I got is like a gray haze. And then with all this, it feels like in that gray haze, it kind of, the haze clears out. And you get to more like a baby blue with a little bit of neon green in there. It's almost like the next place that you land is not quite everything that you want it to be, but it's something that has the potential to become that. It's like you've been existing in this gray haze, but there isn't even hope for that to clear out. There isn't even hope for that to change. But this next place, even if it doesn't seem so razzle dazzle sparkly at first, it feels like something that has the potential to become that for you. Yeah. 7 of Wands. It's the light in the dark. It's that glimmer of hope is kind of what I'm getting. I don't know why I'm getting that, but that's the visual that I'm getting. It's not like it's not like you're going to jump ship and then land a new job and be like, wow, this was everything I ever dreamed of. But it's like, okay, all right. That thing about this job makes me feel like I can be myself here. I can build happiness here. I can actually hum to the music in the car on the way to work instead of crying into my coffee. That's what that feels like. It feels like a potential for joy and happiness and satisfaction. And honestly, at this point, even okay is still better than this ish. I say ish because I can't say the other word on YouTube. So anyway, yeah, that's the job reading. Now we go into the shadow work. Whew. I feel like the shadow work was kind of covered in the love reading, but yeah, we're getting a lot of repeating cards. Justice. Cool. 5 of Swords. Oh, and the first two were the 7 of Wands again and the 4 of Swords. And now we have the 9 of Pentacles. And that tells me that your shadow work is deeply tied with your material world. We have the Father of Swords, Daughter of Cups, Ace of Wands with the 2 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups. Clarify the relationship between the Father of Swords and the Daughter of Cups for me. The Magician. Okay. So with the 7 of Wands being here with the 4 of Swords. And then Justice. And then the 5 of Swords. Okay, what that feels like, what these 4 feel like to me, is like your shadow work is deeply tied. No. You're leaning your inner work on someone else's actions. Okay, what I'm hearing is I can't heal until he says he's sorry. But the Five of Swords is self-destructive. At least in this deck, it is. Nine of Pentacles feels like once you have your material world in check, you also think that that's going to help you heal on the inside. With the Father of Swords, the Daughter of Cups, we got the Magician. This feels like mentally, you know what you need to do, you know where you need to be, but your heart hasn't caught up yet. That's what that feels like. Because you see here, the Father of Swords is a full-grown man owl. And then we have the Daughter of Cups, was just a little baby. It's just, the camera being backwards is like throwing me off here. It's a little baby. And the Cups is about the heart, matters of the heart. That feels like mentally, you know where you need to be, you know what you need to do, but your heart hasn't caught up yet. And the Magician is trickster energy, so that almost even feels like well, it's also about manifestation, but this almost feels like kind of a fake it till you make it. We have the Ace of Wands and the Two of Cups, and that feels like distractions, honestly. Like, I know normally like this would probably mean to some people like a new relationship. No, this feels like distraction, but not in a bad way. This feels like, tying into this fake it till you make it, is like you're taking the steps to do what you need, you need to do. But at the same time, in the background, there's that subconscious thing going on where you feel like you can't really fully move forward or get out of that energy until someone else does what they need to do. You're waiting on someone else to take accountability. You're waiting for things to stabilize with your finances or your material world, or however that applies to you. But that's what keeps dragging you back to this Eight of Cups energy. And again, with the Four of Swords, I will reiterate that healing takes time, and it's okay to take that time. But what this reading is for is basically to show you where the delay is. And the delay is in that you're waiting for remorse from someone that's not capable of it. That's what that feels like. So, yeah, I just heard there isn't more to say. And what that tells me is that I said what I needed to be said. That's your delay. And that's all you needed to know. Because you already know what you need to do. You already know where you need to be. This is just the piece that you weren't seeing. Yep. So that was surprisingly quick. Mostly because we covered most of that in the love reading. But I think you'll get there. Because it looks like you have your head screwed on straight. Okay, so that concludes the Capricorn reading. I am tired, and it is 11:44 p.m. That's weird. I've been seeing that number a lot lately. Anyway, it's 11:44 p.m. So I am probably going to take a couple days before I post the air signs and water signs. And I know that we're already entering September, and this is for the first half of September. But I have stuff to do tomorrow, so I'm going to reattempt this on Tuesday. All right. Bye. Like, share, subscribe, ring the doorbell, hit the notification bell, comment, subscribe, like, share, do all the stuff. I'm tired. Okay. Goodbye.